Shout out to H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft. He has one of his most famous works in terms of cinematography is a movie called Reanimator. It's based on what H.P. Lovecraft wrote, and it was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, I want to say. That's the same guy who directed the Friday the 13th. So the Reanimator is a real cryptic social commentary on the human condition. You had this rogue student called not called, but his name was Herbert West, Dr. Herbert West, and I forget where he was going to school at, but this guy was getting kicked out of schools for basically making zombies. He had a serum that'll bring a person back to life, but it'd be in zombie form. And if a person dies and he brings them back, they on some old 28 days later type. You know what I mean? They just no sense of community, no sense of social skills whatsoever. They just turned into, he basically made animals out of them because parts of the brain weren't developed or could not redevelop after death. And this is why when he would enter this serum into any recently deceased individual, it would be a green solution. And what is the green the color of? That's the heart chakra. But he's inserting it in the back of the brain, like at the brainstem is where he's putting the reanimation at. And this is all that it does. You know, if a person is only a crash dummy, they're not coming back any wiser when they're presented with a new challenge. No, they're just being reanimated as zombies. And like zombies off screen in the real world, they could walk, they could talk, they could hold jobs a little bit, they could have education a little bit. But where the mentality is lacking, it's because the heart has not entered the brain. Green serum, the green for the heart chakra, and the base of the skull for the entrance to the clip off, the entrance to the abyss. And you put these two together, you have a resurrection. But the body is still dead because of the lack of understanding in the mind. These things make for a zombie. And so we're dealing with zombies. And they were telling us that we were dealing with zombies in series like The Walking Dead. And while we're not really literally talking about zombies in that sense, but that points to one other thing. You figure when you look at this, where is this being mirrored at? And you can see it being mirrored in society, on the social justice scene, etc., like all of the above. So people are essentially zombied out for no good reason but simply to reanimate. And what the main crux of what made this reanimation so catastrophic was the fact that it was inorganic, right? Inorganic growth, inorganic resurrection, inorganic new lease on life, because it's not a full life. And a lot of people experience that. They're wondering, like, what am I born again for if I'm still broke? Reanimator. What am I changing my life for if my conditions aren't changing? That's a reanimation thing. Why can't I be on top? It seems like I'm only in the world to survive it, but not to thrive in it. That's a reanimation issue. So again, Super T Sigma, Sigma programming. Just remember, the heart has to enter the mind authentically. Now, what does this mean? To consider the tone and the spirit of all things. This is all it means for the green serum to enter the brainstem to reanimate a dead body, meaning a dead perspective, meaning a dead principle. Whenever you're coming across something that quote unquote doesn't seem to work, you have to find the most organic means possible to try to put that into position. So this is really the tale of H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator. And if you see the movie, like one of the young doctor that was really his roommate, the guy didn't know any better. There was another medical student there that took him in, and this guy was like resurrecting cats, like he was going straight up to the morgue and just stealing bodies out the morgue, or sneaking in the morgue, moving bodies around and trying the serums. And you can't reanimate the dead. Let that be a lesson to you. You know what I mean? Don't expect to find authentic life in a morgue, just like you shouldn't expect to find lively people in a dead space or in a dead zone, or in a dead attitude with a dead perspective. Certain things that are dead, they might seem alive just because you see animation and you see movement, but the people and the perspectives and the ideals could all be dead even while they move. Super T Sigma, Sigma programming. Stay alive the authentic way.